yeah. Suppose if your a population, suppose in Bangladesh, garment industry has 4 million workers. 4 million mean yes, 4 million workers. You cannot collect the data from this 4 million. So what will you do? Maybe you will collect 500, 600 workers. Okay, so and as soon as you get and these 500 workers results from the sample, and you will generalize it to the whole population, 40 lakh, 4 million workers. So that is called the population. Your study population is 4 million. From there you will take the sample. Sample is the representative from the population that we choose them for the study. The full set of cases from which a sample is taken is called the population. Okay, sample size determination is very important. A sample is a subgroup of the bigger group or population, which includes the process of choosing of few samples to become the foundation for predicting or estimating a situation, outcome, or fact about the population. Inadequate or excessive sample size influences the quality and accuracy of research. Sample size refers to the number of items to be selected from the universe to constitute a sample. If the sample size is too small, it may not serve to achieve the objectives. It will give you the type 1 error if your sample size is low. A too large sample size might cause huge cost and type 2 error. Okay, because non-significant become the significant. How large or sample or small should be sample size? As a general rule, the sample must be of an optimum size. Optimum means the ideal sample provides the most precious for the least cost. So how can we define? How can we determine our sample size? Different authors given a different recommendation. So you have to give the justification which tool you have used for calculation of sample size. So according to Fielding, he is telling that 30% of the total population to be data to be collected from 30% of the total population. Table of sample, the most popular one is Casey and Morgan table. 1970, he has given a table for population. For this population, your sample size would be this. And you can use the G power. G power normally we use if your population is unknown. Unknown means in the sense you don't know exact number, how many, suppose the user of Fair and Lovely in India, how many population? You cannot determine, very difficult. All right, the consumer of rice in India. So in that case, in such a case, we use the G power. If our population is really unknown, we cannot figure out what is the exact number. Then you will find the how to calculate through the G power sample size. Through the G power, you can you will get a lot of videos on G power, how to use it. Bill Gordon, 2004, stated that sample 600 sufficient for any greater than 50,000 of the population. However, Sakaran 2006 recommended that Uma Sakaran, a very big number of sample size, such as over 500 of the sample, should lead problem as prone to committing type 2 error. Okay, so it is better not to go beyond 500, as according to Uma Sakaran. Type 2 error means, suppose somebody says Modi is very, Narendra Modi is a very good administrator. Okay, one of 100, 20 people, 20 people say no, he is not a good administrator, but 80% say he is a very good administrator. But when within the 100, so 20% is negligible. Suppose you have collected 20,000 data. In that case, 20% means it is huge in number. Maybe 2,000 people are talking about Narendra Modi not good, as he is not a good administrator. So insignificant factor becoming the significant. So this is called the type 2 error. So we should avoid the excessive number of sample size. So according to Uma Sakaran, maybe if your sample size is higher than the recommended, the optimum size, then what will happen? It will committing type 2 error. Insignificant factor become significant. You got the point? Okay, a sampling technique concept. The whole population is it is called the whole population. They are the player of sports of a game. So this is called, if you are collecting data from whole, then it is called census. If you are not collecting all, but representation, you are collecting instead of 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, you are taking 4 for a sample, then it is called the sampling, the sample. So a sample is the subgroup of the main population. So these are the representative of the population. So how will we select our sample from the whole population? What is the technique? There are two kinds of techniques, sampling technique. One is probability sampling technique, another is non-probability sampling technique. So non-probability sampling technique. In probability sampling, we have the 4 types: the simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, and stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. And convenience, non-probability random sampling, convenience, judgmental, quota, and snowballing. Sometimes we cannot maintain the probability sampling due to some reason. Suppose we don't have access to the whole company, whole organization. So sometimes we go for the non-probability random sampling. But probability sampling technique has the strong basis of collection of data. But non-probability sampling also acceptable, but the biased result may come. It has a low generalization ability. So it is suggested to use probability random sampling. You got the point? And how to select the simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, and within the non-probability sampling technique, convenience, judgmental, and quota sampling, and snowballing sampling. What is snowballing sampling? Anybody can give the best answer. What is snowballing sampling?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can I try?
Yes, why not?
Non-probability sampling is a sampling collected without specific rules, without specific, it's not under chances. We pick it at our own discretion, without considering the chances. They can be heterogeneous set of samples or a set of data that we are picking without any basic rules of picking them.
Okay, you're from Nigeria, right, brother?
Yes, sir, I'm from
Yeah,
Nigeria, but I'm
mashallah.
currently in Kenya.
Welcome, brother. Welcome. Anybody have any other idea about the snowballing sampling? Snowball in itself is representing the idea. Snowball, the snow for very little become very bigger. Suppose if you have the restriction, or you don't know the respondents properly. So what will you do if you find someone You can go there after doing the interview. Then you will ask him, do you know somebody else who is in your field, to whom I can get the data? Yes, then he will, oh, I know somebody who are doing who are in the same field. Okay, go to him. I am just telling him. He will entertain you, like this. Then you are going to the second, and he is giving 4 5 name, and you are visiting to them as well. So from the little you are becoming bigger. That is called, it is snowballing sampling. In this way, you can gather the data. Quota sampling, I think from the quota, maybe in India it is very popular. The for Dalit, for Muslims, there is a quota, huh, right? In India. Okay, so that is called the quota sampling. Then judgmental sampling, based on the judgment of the researcher, he collect the data. And convenience sampling, from where he can collect the data easily. So that is called convenience sampling. But the stratified sampling, the cluster sampling, you are taking all together at a time. Suppose from the 25, 25 company, you write the 25 company and keep in the box and take the all together in cluster. Then stratified, you are using a number and random number. From there you will calculate in the stratified sampling. And systematic as well, and convenience sampling as yeah, and simple random sampling in this way. So I don't have much time to explain each and every aspects today, as I miss huge time. So you will read all of this, then that will help you. So types of interview. There are different types of interview, like structured interview. You see, same questions and to be asked to the whole interviewee, and and you have to maintain the sequence of asking the question. So that is called the structured interview. And semi-structured interview, you have some questions, and when the respondents answer, interview answer, then you will ask the relevant questions from his or her answer. Then unstructured interview, just informal way of taking interview. There is no predetermined questions. So in this way, unstructured interview is done. And this is called focus group interview. The 10 or 15 people been selected from the industry and academia, and they talk each other, and they give their opinion. So you note it down or record their one, and you do the thematic analysis after getting the text from their interview. Okay. Sample interview questions. Suppose these are the sample interview question. How do management and non-management employees interact in the office? How do you know when you have done an excellent job? How do non-management employees learn about organizational change? If you could change one or two things about the way management and non-government personnel interact, what would you change? Like this. This is the sample. And another way of collecting data is observations. Observing organizational behaviors in their functional settings is one of the most. Then observation can range from the, you see how whatever you are doing, the supervisor is observing it. This is participant observation, when the researcher is one of the is the part of the respondents. Then that is called the participant observation. And he is close, he mixed with the participant, and participant other participants, they don't know this man is observing themselves, because they think that he is part of us. So that is called participant observation. Non-participant observation, the researcher observe the people a little far from there, and note the behavior of the people. Then instrument development questionnaire. use methods of device and okay. 5 to 7 items are most suitable for SAM. If you have more than that, Amos has really a problem. If it is more than 7 items, very difficult to get the AV and reliability, very difficult to manage it. And conduct a pre-test and pre-test and conduct pilot test. Then you determine your questionnaire. Ask responder which questions were especially threatening. Yes, Ali do. Yes, brother.
Yes. Please, I want to find out what is the required size for sample size for pilot studies.
Oh, okay. Pilot study, according to hire, it should be around 100. But different other authors, they told that it would be 30. Somebody says it would be 10 to 12. Okay. I would suggest you, if you are adopting and adapting your questionnaire, in that case, suppose you take some questions from one author and some questions from other author. In that case, if you're using like that, in that case it is recommended to do the exploratory EFA, exploratory uh, EFA, factor analysis. Exploratory factor analysis, it requires around 100 samples. So I would suggest you in during the pilot study, if you can collect 100, then you can do the EFA as well as your pilot study will also be done. So it is better. If you are strict on a single author, you have taken your questionnaire. In that case, it is not recommended to go for the EFA, but you can use less than 100, or it can be 30, 40, 50. But different authors given different recommendation that I shall come to you. What is their recommendation, brother? Okay, measurement scale 5 versus 7, interval scale, and nominal scale. And if you know a little bit SPSS, you know the nominal scale. Nominal scale is male, female, or department, country name, ethnicity, like this nominal scale. But ordinal scale, when you are using the range, that is called the ordinary scale. Suppose ratio scale or continuous yeah. Suppose the age you are taking 30, 40, they are writing their age, so you are not using the age range, then it is called the interval scale or ratio scale. What is the pretest? A pretest is a critical examination of our survey, of your survey instrument, that will help determine if your survey will function properly as a valid and reliable social science research tool. Pre-testing your survey is an important way to pinpoint problem areas, which reduce instrument measurement error, reduce respondent burden, whether or not respondents are interpreting correctly, ensure that the order of questions is not influencing the way of respondent answers. And pre-test, to check the validity of the questions before collecting the data. It validate your questionnaire. So expert driven pre-test, respondent driven pre-test, you have to actually validate your questionnaire from the industry expert, academic expert, respondents, as well as language expert. Language expert, they observe either your questionnaire has any ambiguity or not, or double barreled question or not, or everything has to check, the format and the sequence of the questions. All of these are checked in during the p-test. And what is the pilot test? As a pilot test is a small scale study to observe the reliability, the feasibility, duration, cost, adverse event, and improve upon the study design prior to performance of a full scale research project. Okay, 5 to 10 samples, brother. See, Isaac and Michael, he said 10 to 30 samples. according to Bailey, 12 according to Johnson, 30 according to Higher, 2017, 100 samples. Okay. And reliability of the instrument, the reliability we check through the exploratory factor analysis, EFA, and the Cronbach alpha. Cronbach alpha, according to Uma Sakaran, if it is less than zero point 0.6, it is poor. If the zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.7, it is questionable. 0.7 to zero point 0.8 acceptable. 0.8 to zero point 0.9 is good, and zero point 0.9 or above is excellent. Okay, these are the range for the reliability. Do you know what is the meaning of reliability of the instrument? Reliability means the internal consistency of the items. That is called the reliability of the items. So if you have any questions, please ask me. After that, I shall take 10 minutes or 15 minutes break for Asar Salah. Then I shall start for chapter 4 and 5, inshallah. So please ask me, brother, if you have any questions. Yes, Alidin.
Thank you.
Yes, brother.
Wonderful section.
Yes, please.
Please, the question is regarding the questionnaire arrangement. Since we
Okay.
are talking about reliability and validity tests, assuming like for issue of COVID-19 now, since it was a novel issue, the virus came up, and you wanted to investigate COVID-19, and there is no existing questionnaire. While you are trying to develop questionnaire for COVID-19 stuff, you have to go through this EFA in order to explore, to see how to get the questions. My idea is, what if it's entirely a new stuff? You have to go through the reliability, test the instrument and all that before you can validate it to be used for the work.
Yeah.
At what stage will you be required? Is it before you go to the field to give it to the respondent before they answer you, or it is after you've gone once, you validate it before you go to your main uh, sample for the work? That
Oh,
is where I want to learn.
okay. Brother, there are two concepts. One is the pre-test, another is pilot test. When you develop the questionnaire for measuring a particular variable, and you have put some items, since it doesn't have any, there is some procedure for developing the instrument. Actually, basically, this instrument has been developed by through the EFA, and all type of, there are different way of developing the instrument. Suppose for a particular area, suppose COVID-19, you did not give any variables, so you have just questions. All of the questions you put together, and you go to the go to the respondents. After answering it, you will go to the SPSS in EFA. Then through the Verimax matrix, Verimax matrix, you will do it, and these different items will go in different columns, and each columns after viewing the what kinds of questions are loading in a particular column. So based on the questions, you will give the name of the variable. This is the one way. Another way of developing the questionnaire, that is, suppose define the variables first, and under that variable you develop you write the different questions, and these all of these questions are being verified by the expert, industrial expert, by academic expert, by language expert, and the respondents to whom you will collect the data. You will show them they are understanding it. There is no revolver question. It is easy to understand and easy to respond. So there is no and the sequence of the questions is okay. So based on their recommendation, when you will design the questions, after when you are satisfied and your experts and academic experts and language experts all are satisfied, and and yourself are is satisfied about the questionnaire, then you will collect the data for to observe the reliability, internal consistency of the items. Okay, after doing the pilot study, you will collect what is the internal consistency of the items of a particular variable through the Cronbach alpha.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
So it means different between pilot test and pre-test.
Yes, yes.
So what are the differences? Briefly, if you can just
okay. In pre-test, we validate the questions. Okay, we validate the variable, and we validate the questions. Either is there any double barrel question? Is it easy to understand? There is no ambiguity, and these items are representing these variables or not. Okay, so and these are the proper questions or not, and these are being verified by the academic expert, by the industrial expert, by the language expert. They observe the language, and as well as the respondents as well, they are understanding the questions or not. Understand? So these are
Yes.
the pre-test. During the pre-test, we validate the instrument, and after doing this, we go for the pilot study. In the pilot study level, we observe, we collect the data around a certain year, sample recommended by by the author, and suppose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like this. And after collecting of data, you will observe how much times it is taking, and they are understanding it properly or not. And mainly we see the internal consistency, the reliability of the items through the Cronbach alpha, by calculating the Cronbach alpha. Suppose that you have taken the 5 items, and you will take the 5 items together. Either the Cronbach alpha, if it is less than 7, then we are in doubt that it has the all the items has the internal consistency. If the low factor loading items is there, so we can delete some items so that we can improve the reliability of the items for measuring a particular variable.
Thank you, sir.
So any other questions,
Okay,
brother?
can I come in with my question?
Okay, one thing, brother, you discuss among you and prepare some questions, because this chapter is very important. I shall take 15 minutes break for Asr Salah. Okay.
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 So should I answer after the break?
Yes. We
After
shall
the break,
start.
okay.
Yes, I shall start again.
Okay.